Hans Moke Niemann, one of the most talented chess players in the world, is looking great again. First of all, what I've noticed when I followed now his last games that he played in the Kazakhstan Cup in 2023, that's still going on, is that Hans Moke Niemann lost some weight and he cut his hair. He's really looking in top shape, which is of course a great thing for him. He got out of this mess that was created in the last year. It's good, really. It's really a pleasure to see that he can go on, that he can still play great chess, that he can follow his career through this tough moments. And in one of these events that he played already in this year, he shared the first place. Now in the Astana Cup, in the Kazakhstan Cup, he's not playing maybe his best chess. He's only on the 6th place, although he was a top favorite to win the whole thing, but he lost one game. But still, in my opinion, his games are really worth to follow because he's playing really aggressive, attractive chess with cool tactical ideas in an early stage of the game. He produces really wild ideas in the opening stage, and that's what we miss sometimes: new ideas, new opportunities, new sidelines, new tactical possibilities in particular opening. So that's, I think, a great thing in his career. So I wanted to show such a game in which Hans Moke Niemann played a beautiful new line in the Rossolimo Nyezhmetdinov Attack in the Sicilian Defense with the black pieces. In my opinion, really beautiful game, really a beautiful game worth to study. So let's see now the game. As I said, this tournament that he's playing is this Kazakhstan Cup in Astana, where also the World Chess Championship match between Jan Nepomniachtchi and Dingler is played. So I think both of these events are really close to each other. So really Astana becomes now really the most important chess town in the world. So his opponent is Aslan Aitbayev. Aslan Aitbayev, also strong international master from Kazakhstan, also a great tactician. Let's see now what happened in the beautiful Rossolimo Nyezhmetdinov Attack. So here Aitbayev opened with move e4. We have c5 by Hans. We have knight to f3, knight to c6, and Aitbayev goes into the so-called Rossolimo Nyezhmetdinov Attack with the move bishop to b5. The idea is clear. In some of these lines, we're trying to play bishop to c6 and mess up the pawn structure here on the queen side. We have e6, and now here Aitbayev goes with kingside castling, although I'm a big fan of this line. If you're playing the Rossolimo Nyezhmetdinov Attack, then I think you should make further progress like this. You can play something like bishop to c6, and after b takes c6, you can play b3, bishop to b2, control the e5 square. So I think, although black is continuing the game with the bishop pair, still it's very hard, of course, for black to make something to happen, because notice that the bishop on c8, it is a little bit paralyzed by its own pawn structure. So it's not really the optimal bishop pair that's crossing all over the board. You need time, you need moves just in order to let your bishop on c8 somehow into the game. So that's, I think, the downside, of course, for black in this types of structure. So after move e6, Aitbayev went with kingside castling. We have knight from g to e7. Now, of course, bishop to c6 doesn't make sense, because if you play this, then of course knight to c6, and you lost your whole idea of the Nyezhmetdinov-Rossolimo attack. You wanted to at least provoke some weaknesses. Now look at this. After move knight to c6, black is continuing the game with the bishop pair, and now with b6 and bishop to b7, this light where bishop will easily come also into the game. So that's why after knight from g to e7, Aitbayev played rook to e1, a6, bishop to f1. This is the standard maneuver, retreating with the bishop but keeping it very active. And now we have also opportunity to get some spaces with the move e5, occupying, of course, the other side of the board. So in the game b6, c3, Aitbayev goes with the central breakthrough, also common idea. And now here Hans is sensing that there could be some problems in the center of the board, so that's why he has to react immediately in the center with the move d5. We have now the move d3, and now Hans produces already a beautiful idea. He plays h6, and this is really wild line. This position has been reached only once in chess history. There is a game in an international master level in which black played this move h6. Really wild stuff. You see, it's already a preparation to play the move g5, and look at this. We have a dynamic position in the center. The king is still not secured, so that's what I meant here. Hans is producing really wild idea to create a king side flank attack, although the king is stuck in the center. Really wild stuff. So here g3 played by Aitbayev. Now comes this idea g5, e takes d5, e takes d5. This is, of course, a natural idea here for Aitbayev. He is trying to open the files, open the spaces against black's king. Now the king is a little bit in danger. So we have now the move d4 by Aitbayev. We have bishop to g7. Hans is preparing kingside castling. We have d takes c5, b takes c5, and now after move knight from b2 d2. What would you do here? Maybe just for fun, pause the video and try to see maybe a beautiful positional move. I really love this move. It's really the best suggested move by top engines. It's, I think, a brilliant idea that Hans, Moke, and Niemann played here. Maybe you can just search for an opportunity here. Okay, Hans played a beautiful c4 move, and look what this move is doing. This move is paralyzing both of this knight. The knight on d2 is out of game. It cannot jump on c4, it cannot jump on e4. This knight on f3 is also paralyzed by the activity of blacks because of the knight on c6 and also the bishop on g7. So you don't have access to the f1 square, you don't have access to the f3 square, so both knights are really out of game. In order to stay somehow into the game, you have to play a wild move b3. And you can be my guest, you can be honest to yourself, how many of us would really play this move b3 immediately? I'm not sure how many of us would even consider the move, because look at this, after b3 the line is really crazy. C takes b3, knight to b3. Here Aitbayev didn't play this line. Look at this, after knight to b3 you should even allow here the move bishop to c3, then black should actually not take out the pawn on c3. So as I said, I really don't want to mess up your whole game here, but I wanted to show how really tactical rich already this position can be, and how problematic this line that Aitbayev played actually was, because after move c4 he didn't react correctly with the move b3. He played bishop to g2, and I think 99% players would play the move bishop to g2, simply developing the light square bishop and attacking the backward pawn on d5. But actually you have to break several principles in chess in order to stay in the game. So I think here Hans, Moke, and Niemann already tricked here Aitbayev with his opening preparation. So after move bishop to g2, we have now kingside castling by Hans. We have h4, g4. Look at this, knight to d4 has to be played. You don't have good squares for the knight. If you play something like knight to h2, then of course h5 happens, and look at this. Again, both of your knights are out of game. Maybe you can reroute your knight to f1, this knight from h2. You can reroute it, maybe then afterwards to e3. But then again, you don't have access to the f5 square. And where are you going to go with your knight on d2? That's the question here. So see, already messed up positional game here for white. We're now in move 16, and already very important positional problems in white's position. So after move g4, Aitbayev played knight to d4, knight to d4, c takes d4, and now bishop to e6. Very important idea here by Hans, because he didn't fall for a tactic here, because if you play bishop to d4, then you get knight to c4, the bishop is hanging, and now you cannot take, of course, because the rook is also hanging on a8. So really also a nice tactical idea here by Aitbayev. But Aitbayev played first a bishop to e6. Now of course knight to c4 doesn't make sense, because you lose two minor pieces for the rook in such an open game with the beautiful bishop pair with light square problems. If you give up your light square bishop for the rook, the game is over, I think, here for white. So that's why this is not working. After move bishop to e6, Aitbayev goes with knight to b1. He's trying now to reroute the knight on c3. He's trying to make some kind of an idea, attack maybe the d5 pawn, but now queen to b6 here by Hans, and he's now attacking the d4 pawn, but also the weak b2 pawn. In the game we have knight to c3. Even if you try something like bishop to e3, then the pawn on b2 is hanging, so you didn't solve all of your positional problems. So after move queen to b6, Aitbayev played knight to c3. We have bishop to d4, and here after move bishop to h6, it seems so that maybe Aitbayev has solved also many problems, because he has some attacking chances here in front of black's king, but here Hans kept it calm. Bishop to f2 first, king to h1, bishop to e1, queen to e1, and now Hans played a brilliant queen to b2. He doesn't want to retreat with the rook, of course, because if that happens, then you could really face some dark square problems. So that's why Hans is keeping his chances with the queen, and he's trying now also to protect the square g7. If you don't do that, then you could actually get checkmated by the queen and bishop activity here on dark square. So after move queen to b2, rook to b1, queen to c2, we have now rook to b6 here by Aitbayev. He's trying now to attack here the bishop on e6, queen to f5, very important move. Still, you see Hans is leaving his rook unprotected. He's hoping actually that Aitbayev takes now the rook on f8 with the move bishop to with the bishop on h6, because if that happens, then the game is simplified. And notice now after move queen to f5 that actually what we have gained here from black's perspective are these two connected pass pawns here on the d4 and c4 on the d file and c file. So now even if you trade off further pieces, these pawns are marching. So really a messed up position here again for Aitbayev. So Aitbayev went for this idea: bishop to f8, rook to f8. We have queen to e3. Here Aitbayev is not allowing Hans to make further progress with move d4. If that happens, if these two pawns are getting connected on the fourth rank, then again it could be a good, really bad game here for white. So that's why queen to f6. Hans is preparing this move. We have again this idea: knight to e2, controlling the d4 square, knight to f5, attacking the queen, queen to f4, and now you see d4 is coming, and now the pawns are rolling. Basically they're unstoppable. From this point on, I think the game is really a one-way ticket in black's favor. So in the game, queen to g4. Hans left everything unprotected here. He hopes just to get something out of this beautiful pawn storm here in the center of the board. So after move queen to g4, queen to g7, queen to g7, king to g7. Mission accomplished, I think. Look at this. Hans has now still this beautiful two pawns. There's nothing that can be done, so you have to now retreat with your pieces. King to h2, connecting, of course, the king to the pawn on g3. We have now d3, kicking away the knight, and now at least Aitbayev created sort of a blockade. It's not allowing this pawn to make further progress. But now again a beautiful idea here by Hans, knight to d4. He's trying now to get the knight on e2, really get rid of this knight on c3. You see how really accurately here Hans Moke Niemann is playing this endgame, because after knight to d4 we have a4, and now he plays the brilliant knight to e2. It seems like a strange idea because your pawns are split now, because they're of course more powerful if they're connected. But look at this, still these are two dangerous pass pawns, and this pawn chain and that split, it causes many tactical problems, because now white's rook has to retreat here on b1. Hans is getting now finally the rook into the game. We have rook to e1, and now this rook is coming on d2. The problem is here that the king is simply a little bit too far away from the action. Here Aitbayev tried to somehow get the king into the attack. Even if you try something like f3, bishop to f3, still it's not helping you, because after c3 you can maybe pick up here the pawn on e2, but after rook to e2, bishop to e2, and c2, the game is over. This is a dark square, of course you cannot protect it. The king is too far away from the action. As we said, the game is over. Even if you take, instead of this move rook to e2, even if you take bishop to e2, then of course c2 still is working. You play something like king to g1, we simply play rook to e2, we deflect the rook from the defense of the first rank, and now we can have a new promotion. If you don't react, of course you can play rook to c1, but now still this is a completely winning endgame here for black. So you see, after move rook to d2, you have to finally somehow include your king into the game. Now Hans makes progress, king to f2, c2, and here after bishop to e4, now comes a brilliant move here by Hans in this position. Actually Aitbayev resigned c1, the promotion. Really nice stuff, because if you play now rook to c1, then rook to d1 is coming, and of course if you trade it off, then we have a new promotion of the queen here. If you don't react, of course we will simply pick up the rook, and we're continuing the game with the next for piece. Of course still it's game over here for white. So brilliant game here by Hans Moke Niemann. Interesting ideas of the Rossolimo Nyezhmetdinov attack. You see, Hans went immediately on a brutal attack. He played really aggressively on the king side. Respect to him, because he creates really cool chances. Again, a beautiful tactical game. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot, because I faced now many times the Rossolimo Nyezhmetdinov attack. I really found this ideas really interesting and cool. I applied probably many of these ideas in one of my games. If you want to see more beautiful chess games like this, you can also check out our commented chess games. Here's the link for my whole playlist. And if you want to see more about the Rossolimo Nyezhmetdinov attack, here's also the playlist about this beautiful chess opening. You can also check it out, where we have covered more games from white and from black perspective. And if you like this content, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. See you soon with some more videos, and what to say, chess is the best, of course.